Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident Tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now this week, as we amp up for the final week leading up to Medarot Day on 11/28, we have some more features and some more updates that were incoming regarding the day itself, and of course this coming week, as of course some recaps on what was teased through this previous week that will now be officially going live this week and leading up to this Sunday, which is of course 11/28, better known to the community as Medarot Day. And it's for this reason I have named this week's episode Pre-Celebration Party Time. So we have a lot to cover this week, so let's go ahead and jump right into what they did announce that is incoming and upcoming. First of which are this week's gacha banners. We have one brand new model that'll be coming in, and 3 reruns. The newcomer model is MWB0 Ambiguous. Folks that played Medarot 2 or the 2 core on the GBA will know this guy particularly well, with his kit of missile, rifle, Gatling, biped legs, and the Shura leg ability. Our reruns are BLZ0 Blazermate with a kit of Cybercore, Repair and Restore, Biped Legs, and the Holy Grace leg ability. CAT-01 Peppercat with Stealth, Double Shock, Biped Legs, and the Spearhead leg ability. And then, of course, last but most certainly not least, NAS-01 Saint Nurse with Perfect Guard, Double Count Repair, Biped Legs, and the Fix Plus leg ability. Now, of the 4 gacha banners that we have this week, like I mentioned, 3 of which are Spotlight, so I would not actively encourage going after Blazermate, Peppercat, or Saint Nurse, as typically through any other banner that we have that are standard pickups, like for instance Ambiguous this week, we do regularly have chances of going after the other 3 bots listed, so even though their priority won't be super high, going after them would definitely still be a good investment in the long run, even if you do end up getting them passively if you haven't yet, because they all offer some fantastic skill that makes them very solid on the field or off the field. This week's Fierce Battles, on the other hand, are a little more lower key, again leading up to and amping up a lot more attention for features and quality of life improvements, more so than gacha banners or bots themselves. But this week's Fierce Battles are BTA0 Mekong Narob with a kit of Guard Boost, Double Provoke, Sea Legs, and the Blow Beat leg ability. DGD0 GO Death with Optic Guard, Double Sacrifice, Float Legs, and the Illusion leg ability. And then RIN0 Rhino Rush with a kit of Guard 500, Double Missile, Tank Legs, and Super Armor leg ability. Now, honestly, of the 3 Fierce Battles we have this week, like I mentioned, they are kind of lower tier in this case, as Fierce Battles aren't going to be the big focus for this week, given that we have a whole lot more stuff incoming that needs a lot more attention. But if I were to give any of the 3 Fierce Battles we have this week the particular MVP of the week reward, I would probably give that title to Mekong Narob, as he has more overall utility and an overall extensiveness on the field, especially in extended battles, especially if you can use his parts wisely and know exactly how to make use of them. The first major features that we have that are incoming, we finally have our first official look at the schedule for the 24-hour Medarot Day livestream schedule. That should be going up on 11/27 through 11/28, and that schedule is roughly as follows according to general translations. At about 2000 hours is the popularity poll results that started earlier this week. Not this week, probably at the earlier this month, where you could vote for your favorite bot and your most powerful bot, and the top results would be highlighted as Fierce Battles or maybe as Spotlight rerun banners in future gacha polls. 2200 hours is the special news part 1. They're keeping this really seriously under wraps, so there really is no telling what a lot of these special news, especially at 2200 hours and then at 1800 hours the next day, what this special news might be. So do stay tuned on that, especially when a link for that stream does go live, and I'm more than certain to be covering on it once the information on that does come to surface. At 2300 hours will be Music Day, the first half of Music Day, with a special guest of Toru Igota. That will continue onward to 0 hours starting the next day with the second half of the music day, with special guest Toru Igota reprising and also introducing Shushu Pop to the panel to enjoy more of the Medarot Day music through this particular couple hours. From 1 o'clock to about 9 o'clock roughly through this time are challenge fights with special guests Shushu Pop and Lear Lila, Medarot's own, very own VTubers that have been popping up here and there every so often with their own streams. So it's going to be very nice seeing them again, as it has been a fair bit of time since either of them made their own videos in recent. So it's going to be really nice seeing them again. I do highly anticipate that these challenge fights being mentioned are likely in lieu of the real-time PvP that's going live. So my popular theory right now is that these challenge fights might be Shushu Pop and Lear, or maybe someone else on the dev team, maybe opening up the floor to the real-time row battles and see if anyone's willing to pick up the challenge, but that's only my particular guess on it. At about 900 hours will be morning news, so most likely the same as that we've had thus far, but probably highlighting stuff that'll be showcasing specifically on Medarot Day that is not announced in this week's current video. At 10 o'clock is roughly an event called Let's Do It Medarot. I'm not 100% sure what this event might be, but once the live stream does go live and I can go back and recover it and just kind of tally up everything that happened, I will be sure to cover more information on this. At about 12 o'clock will be a guest panel featuring a lot of very popular artists and developers, such of which is Tiyuga, who is a very well-known, very popular Medarot artist that does a lot of the art that we see for the game thus far, Kana Hirano and Haku Bayashi and Shuto. At between 1500 and 1600 hours will be VTuber panels with Lear and Shushu Pop individually, so very likely conversational panels just with each of them singularly on their own. And then about 1700 hours will be one final panel with Shushu Pop and Lear together. So very likely another conversational, just chatting panel. Not 100% sure on that, but that's just my guess at this point. And then, of course, 1800 hours, just kind of wrapping the whole stream up, will be a part 2 of this special news that they've been teasing up all this time. So very excited to see this official schedule and what they're going to be mentioning. I'm especially excited for this special news that they're supposedly teasing. So do stay tuned on my channel and, of course, the main Medarot channel themselves once that live stream does go live, and we can find out for sure what exactly they do have planned that they've been keeping a secret for us. The next major thing they included was I'm going to say a quality of life mechanic more than anything else. It is a new gacha for illustrations. You can collect and redeem a new special token to pull in this gacha for artwork of Medarots and Medarotters new and old. So not just are we going to be going after parts now, but this is now a chance to start filling in a illustration library, for lack of a better term. So not only will we be able to collect parts, but also official art for the model as well, in very nice resolution too, no less, which has been always kind of a trick to try to find in particular segments of the internet, depending on where you look. Not 100% sure where this new token will be coming from. I do anticipate sometime in this week, or even on Medarot Day, we might get more information on that. But the other big feature that included this week is custom color skins. So folks that have been looking for custom colors of their particular models, your time has come. In addition to this will be a new addition to the convenience store and the main form of the game. You can redeem a new gem currency to buy these special skins. Currently, the first two that'll be leading the lineup is Woodland Camo Metabee and Calico Cat Peppercat. So really looking forward to seeing these two. I don't know exactly how to get this new gem currency either. Very likely it may be an in-app purchase or an event reward, either of the two. But they did mention that these two are just the start of a lot more custom skins down the line, and they did make a particular note to mention that supposedly they're going to be opening up contact info either on their Twitter or maybe through a link in the game where you can submit your own ideas for custom color skins that may or may not be added to the game sometime in the near future when this feature does go live. So really looking forward to seeing custom skins. They did also announce in particular that these custom skins will be reflected in real-time PvP and in PvP in general, and they can be turned on or off as you please once you have purchased the skin and it is officially in your ownership. The next major piece of news they did announce is that we'll be getting another narration announcer voice. It will be none other than Isao Shinohara, who is well known for his role as Rokusho in the original Metabots anime. So it's going to be really nice seeing him come back to reprise that role. Really looking forward to that. It did say that it's unlocked via a retweet contest that is going on Twitter as of current. So very likely we may be able to meet that goal relatively quick, but very, very exciting to see another particularly iconic role come back, especially, for instance, as Junko came back to reprise the role as Metabee in previous cutscenes in the game thus far. In addition to the Medarot Day, we do have another Marathon Survival event does make a rerun, but we do have a special Medarot Day challenge to celebrate the 24th anniversary. But just to go over the rules briefly of what Marathon Survival is, as I have been asked about this quite a bit, so this is a good way to get you guys an idea on what exactly Marathon Survival is and how it behaves. Essentially, it is a special event where parts used in rounds upon completion upon victory will be added to a banned list, as in you can no longer use those parts after you complete that particular level. As you complete levels between checkpoints, the banned list grows as you progress. So essentially, in that first round, when you win upon victory, the 12 parts you used in that match are now considered banned, and you can no longer use them. So in the next round after that, you will need to cycle in brand new parts and shift around your team build based on what kind of parts you can equip that are no longer considered part of the banned list. If you could reach a checkpoint, usually between about 3 to 5 matches, roughly based on current pattern, it will refresh and reset the banned list. So any parts that were in that list prior will be officially reset, and you can use them once again. But between rounds, if you find yourself needing to go back and use a part more than once, they have allowed the opportunity to refresh up to 4 parts, I believe, that you can reuse once more. But once you use all 4 of those refreshes, you're going to be stuck with whatever the game will give you that is forcing you to use that is not on the banned list. So this is essentially a test and a check to see how well you've been keeping up on raising other parts outside of the ones that you particularly main or use regularly. This is also a test to see how flexible you are with shifting team builds. So of course we're all very well used to using certain particular parts and builds, and that's basically how we go about doing regular story content, and even most PvP for folks that are really active in that. But Marathon Survival is a very welcome challenge in this sense. Probably not as difficult as EX Trials might be, as there's a lot more modifiers in that one that you have to pay attention to. But in Marathon Survival, this does give you a chance to kind of experiment with other parts that you perhaps have not been using up to this point, just to kind of see how well that you can make use of them within these certain kind of modifiers and restrictions. Aside from that, just to recap what was covered last week that will be going live this week, Realtime PvP goes live. So you can now customize battles with real people in real time under certain rules, such as free battle, where anybody capture up to this certain level is free to come in as they are, or certain modifiers that will level lock parts or medals. You can also now, once this go live, hold tournaments in your own communities. Very likely, I do anticipate in the near future, once this does go live, we will be seeing some potential tourneys in the Project Rising Beetle server. Not 100% sure on details on that just yet, just kind of tossing some ideas, but if any of you from the community are watching this and do find this as a rather interesting idea, do by all means let me know and see if you have any particular ideas or suggestions on how to go through that. Maybe we might see one sometime in the future sooner than later. And the other update is the 1/12 Medarot Box 2. Orders do officially go live on 11/24, so very shortly in the next day or so. They did also announce in the first batch pre-order bonus that will be going live between 11/24 when orders go live and 12/15, so roughly midway through December. They will be including a bonus model of BAT-01 Golf Bullet. So alongside the traditional models that have been announced and teased in the second box, we will be getting that bonus one on top of it if you can make that first batch pre-order bonus within the period mentioned. Once, regardless if you make that period or not, expected ship date of this second box is roughly supposed to be about May of 2022. So even though we can't officially place the orders for them, we do have a little bit more waiting ahead of us, unfortunately, but I believe the wait will be very much so worth it in the end. Aside from all this, we are still continually looking for translators with our Medarot 3 and the Medarot Reloaded translation projects, so if you have any knowledge of Japanese coding or cleaning with some time on your hands, we are more than open to any efforts or contribution that you'd be willing to donate for the time being. We do have a lot of code that still needs to be translated for the Medarot 3 code, and a number of chapters. We have started some of the chapters up to in fair recent with the Medarot Reloaded manga, but of course the more cleaners and translators that we can have, the sooner we can release more of those chapters, so us Westerners can enjoy the series alongside that of the JP community on the other side of the pond. But aside from all this, thanks again for stopping by, folks. It's always happy to have you in for a visit. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever communities on Facebook. You can also join us on Discord at the link provided and in the comments below to keep it more so ear to the ground on everything going on, or reach out to me directly with game game questions or anything in particular with the series. You can also reach out to me on Twitter personally at Isagamikura for the same thing. So any suggestions, feedback, comments, ideas, I have a couple things that are currently still being worked on with future updates, but I would love to hear any and all particular feedback that you guys might have, or even offer for me to use or maybe suggest for future videos. Do also give these other fine folks a follow too, Eru4, Callie Dory, who also runs the Metabots OOC pages on Twitter. Wonderful friend of mine, fantastic artist, great person to be around, and definitely a source of memes. I can definitely say that much. Lots of Medarot related memes. Highly recommend giving her a follow. Do also give Metabots ESP a follow. I do want to give a shout out to the Spanish community in particular, as we do have a number of members that are part of that community that maybe have mixed English on or off, but I do want to give a shout out to them as well. We are all in this together as fellow Metarotters. So if you guys have if any of you are there, native Spanish speakers all over the globe, do feel free to give that page a follow as well, as they too tend to keep an ear to the ground on what's going on with the Medarot community, especially maybe for folks that where English may not be a natural second language. So definitely give them a follow on that too. But once again, thanks again for stopping by, folks. It's always happy to have you in for a visit. Until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.